And we are live. Welcome back to another episode of On the King's Dime. Monday night, the weekend of the first round has come and gone, and it was a good weekend. We had a win. We're going to talk about that. It's always good when the Kings win, start out in the new season very well, which is good. We'll talk about that. We'll go through our tips. And we will
Three, two,
also
one
talk about
MVP.
next, the 3-2-1 MVP too. Yep. Thank you to
Yep,
everyone
yep,
out
yep.
there who has participated in that. Don't be shy. Get in there.
Keep going, keep coming.
Yep. Just give a 3-2-1 for your favorites on the night. It's much easier when the Kings win to give a 3-2-1. It's very hard to do it when the Kings don't win. Nobody wants to do something like that. But so get in there as the Kings start their season with a win. And then we'll talk about the next round coming up and kind of what's happening with this team. I think that this was my first taste of Kings action this season. Fans doing fan content, and I haven't even watched any of the games, so I was very, very pleasantly surprised. I've got a few things to say about this team and kind of where it can go and what it can do, and so do you as well. As always, like and subscribe. We're live right now on Facebook, so get in and give us a like and give us a comment too if you want to get some fan interaction and ask us what you think. Ask us what we think as well. And we'll put these up on YouTube in replay, and you can watch also this on Facebook in replay. And the audio is on the Anchor platform, which goes out to Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. So if you want to listen in audio form, then like and subscribe, give a rating and review. And yeah, I think that's everything we need to plug. We're trying to do a little bit more fan content this year. Once I kind of get through this next couple of weeks, I think I'm a bit more free to do some content. So I'll try and do that a little bit more. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Hopefully, I'll probably just sail into the night with nothing there. But that's all right. We'll get there. But this game on Sunday evening, let's talk the round. What did you think about the new franchise, the Jack Jumpers?
Um, I thought that Brisbane were terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
little
that's
curveball to start the pod for you.
yeah. I just thought Brisbane were terrible. That is a poorly constructed team, and they paid the price to a new franchise that to kind of destroy them in overtime. And
It shouldn't have got to overtime, man. There was just so many missed shots at the end of that game, and
it
then they
was
couldn't get the ball to Sobey, and it was just like. And I don't rate that Jack Jumpers team. I
there
didn't.
is a humongous cockroach just crawling at my feet. Give me 1 sec.
Yeah, right.
It is massive.
Stop the
Continue.
pod. He's got to kill it. Kill a cockroach.
Continue.
He's got a nuke. Yeah, I didn't rate that Jack Jumpers team. I was kind of watching it and just thinking, ooh, that's full on new team. I think comparing it to the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix a couple of years ago, it's good to see them come in, look like a solid all round team. They had some good players. Roberson, I think, was their point guard. He was shooting lights out, and they got a lot of momentum. But this Jack Jumpers team, I just kind of like it was a struggle. I think they got all the way down to having Sobey hit a chuck three at the end, sort of time. It wasn't really a chuck, but it was kind of a launch three to tie the game up at the end there, and then he got ejected. I'll talk about this when he gets back if he hasn't died in the mouth of a cockroach. But Sobey getting ejected at the end of the game, I didn't have the sound on, so I didn't actually see what happened to him to get ejected. I think it was like a unsportsmanlike foul, and that just killed. As soon as he went out, that just killed them. You just knew that was it. It's over. It's over for the Brisbane team. But yeah, that was. You're right. You survived.
Dude, this thing was the size of my thumb.
Did you level up?
It was massive. Scored a whole bunch of hit points off that one.
Yeah,
XP
nice.
overload.
I was just sort of saying the end of that game where Sobey hit that three to tie it up and then gets ejected on a tech. I think it was an unsportsmanlike.
Yeah,
I didn't have the sound on, so I didn't know what happened. And then it was just like you knew as soon as he went out, it's like, well, that's it for Brisbane. He was the only one that could score the ball. Like Lamar Patterson, and even Franks, I think was the other guy, just launching the ball into space, and you're just like, whoa, this is a rough team.
It's
What other dark horses did you see?
Illawarra, for my mind.
Real good.
They look really well coached.
Crisp, very crisp. The start was a bit like, oh, maybe this team isn't that good, and then they just turned it on and just started hitting shots and then moving the ball, moving themselves, and you were just like, ooh, this team's crisp, scary.
Do I breathe? Do It Breathe. Just can't say much more about Do It Breathe, man. That is the pick up of I think the season. And in that team, just an ingest of Tyler Harvey. They're good players, man. They were good players last year. I don't think they just quite had the depth, but this year they've got depth.
Yeah, I think they've got bigs too. Like they just had
Mm.
all these bigs, and I was just watching it, just going, where are all these bigs coming from? Like, what on earth? What the hell's going on here? That Adelaide team is also coming off a back to back. The Phoenix looked pretty good.
Um,
They looked
yeah,
alright. I'm like,
I don't know, man. I think it can go two ways. I don't think they have huge amounts of depth. I think they've got good starting. You know, I mean, they're lucky they got Brokoff and Creek in those kind of marquee Aussie roles, but I don't think their depth is great. For my mind, Sydney's the deepest team. I don't see a humongous weak link anywhere, and I also don't see how Jordan Hunter fits into that. But this is kind of for another discussion. But
well, let's
you can
have that discussion. Jack Fletcher sent us a message. Where does Geordie Hunter fit in from here?
he doesn't, man. He doesn't. That's the problem. Is that you play Cooks at this versatile five that can run the ball. He can defend very well. Um, and then you've got Matur. This
Mater,
is
damn it!
this is a make
You
or
just throw me.
misdiagnosis.
I'm sure it was McCurr Maker, man.
It's Maker.
Yeah,
Maker
you
Maker,
just
who is a 6'11" behemoth. Can shoot,
dude.
can run the ball.
He looked so good, man.
Yeah.
Like not where he dominates and you would go, wow, what a performance, but the projection of what he can be in the NBL, like he looked massive, man. And then, like I said to you, up against JLA, they're a similar size, similar build, and he just looked like way too powerful for him. And I was like, yes, 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 get him on these rolls. He had a really nice dunk on over JLA, one of those ones where it's just a thought thing, right? It's not like he came in and he spiked it. Like it was just I've got a space, it's right there. I'm just going to go up and dunk it. And that for me says a lot about his game, right? It
Mhm.
says the speed of thought. His hands were a little bit all over the place, and
But
you
he's
can.
7 foot. Well, he's 6'11", man. I mean, even the best kind of 7 footers in the NBA aren't that great with the handles. They try, but they do get picked easily. You are a hell of a lot further away from the floor. So
But
yeah,
that dunk to me said to me like he's got some skills, and
he's got some skills. He stood out for the three ball. He can shoot. He's got a nice arcing shot. Maybe his mid range game's probably not there. I saw a late mid range. I was just like, man, this 5 minutes ago. Why are you shooting that shot? Get a better look. But
this
this
team's
team,
got no mid range, man. Like, did you see like
Jalen Adams is probably the only mid range. RJ Hunter can shoot the mid range pretty well. But again, these guys have gone out and kind of trained in that NBA program where it's three and a bit of D, and these guys didn't bring the D to the NBA, which is why they're in the NBL kind of thing. Jerome Martin, RJ Hunter, Jalen Adams, all probably lacking the defensive prowess to play that elite basketball, but still, top tier NBL. Um, and on a smaller court with bigger dudes, you can kind of hide them a lot easier when you've got a number five in the paint, guarding the paint. But yeah, I I don't know if mid range is really going to be that effective this year. It's hard in FIBA to really get that mid range. You don't really get your spot, and you don't need to get your spot. Yeah, I can see Burford, jacking up 25. Buford, fuck,
Buford?
man. Buford, fuck.
We're just bricking names left, right, and center.
Yeah, man. That's just Buford. Such an
I don't
American
know
name.
why Burford.
Chase
Why does
Buford.
that just rolls off the tongue better than Buford,
Well,
eh?
Burford, yeah, Buford. I don't know. Maybe is it BUR? Is it that it?
It's Buford, I
Oh,
believe.
it's Buford. Yeah, okay, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's neither here or there. We're just going to call him.
Two guys talk about some guy's name.
You can call him 40. I mean, you can
40
42.
x 40. Did you see 40 on the sidelines against Perth? That's the one game that I didn't actually get any.
No, I didn't watch that game.
Nah. So
Cairns
yeah,
got
good on
smacked though.
40. They got absolutely drilled. Perth again. We'll just subnote that. It's just like, yeah, Perth's kind of Perth again, I guess. Fair enough.
Vic Law comes from like Brisbane, and then he came from
He
Brisbane
was
last year.
he was like
So
I
good.
remember watching him against us, and I think he had like 6 from 7 in the first half, and I was just like every shot was like a pull up, shake off someone, baseline. a stutter step dribble hesitation, and it was just like everything was crisp. And it was just like, damn, that's a good player.
Yeah.
Why are you playing for Brisbane? Like, what the hell? And for Perth to pick him up, it's just like, yep, good pick up. Fair enough.
Yeah,
Perth
it's
does
a
it again on you, Perth.
powerhouse.
But back to Jack Fletcher's question about Geordie Hunter. Where does he fit in at the moment? I feel like Maker might be a better option than him. Like if he was healthy, I mean, I like
Yeah,
McKermaker coming off the bench, man, in that
yeah.
first slot as a
This
rim protector, rim runner.
this is the problem, right? Is that when you've got three and Mater is still to come, who's kind of like a 4-5 combo. When you've got three deep and Geordie doesn't stretch the floor and
Huge.
everyone else stretches the floor, what scenarios do you run Hunter in? Like it doesn't fit the G League kind of style of play. Every you look at the G League, every five stretches the floor, and then the backup guys come in and kind of play that block role. I don't know, man. It's just it's hard to see him in the lineup. That's because you really can't play Jerome Martin him at the same time. And then if you play Xavier Cooks in him at the same time, you've got no stretchability. So what lineups do you play him in?
Mm.
Like, if in the NBA and I see this, I see him kind of getting kicked out or signed somewhere else that he makes more sense. But in this lineup, he doesn't really make a lot of sense unless you kind of just, you're playing him in a role that he's kind of your main guy and he's coming back and, you play other guys around him and Cooks kind of fits into this 4-5 weird 3-4-5 spot where he can kind of play anything.
He
But
needs
there's
to
a
play like in this role where it's a small lineup, but then you've got Cooks, and you're like, he's a much better small ball five type of thing.
Mm.
And then
Yeah, Jarrell doesn't fit as a small ball five. He's just not defensively good enough.
and there was we'll get to that. There was a couple of those Jarrell moments where you're just like Jarrell, like turn around, you guys right there. What are you doing? But I think like he doesn't really have that skill set of a small ball five, and then I don't think he really has the skill set of a big to play in that traditional center role, like the choker role that we've seen
No.
him sort of play in that kick it role over the last couple of years. And I don't know. Like I want to see him come back and look at that Maker maker spot and go, okay, I want to mold myself in what Cooks is doing. I can't shoot from mid range or the outside. I'm going to rim run. I'm going to try and protect the rim. Going to come up high, set screens. He sets a pretty good bone crushing screen.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. Gets
Jordy's pretty good.
called
Yep.
for it a lot, but I see, man. I'm kind of like a bit starstruck with McKermaker. I'm just like, ooh, like 7-footer. Ooh, this is good with some skill.
Man, the league's got a lot of 7-footers at the moment.
Mm.
Like there's I think there's 5 7-footers. We got Kay Soto, we've got Rob Lowe, who's he's a 7-footer, but
Yeah.
Zhao Chi, that other dude that plays for Brisbane that kind of didn't play. He's the next star. I think he's about 7'3". It's a big dude, man. It's big dudes in this year. This is kind of one of the best talent years I've seen in the NBL for a long time.
It's a shame Taco Ford didn't come down as the next one.
Oh, the Taco. No, he signed with he's with the
Cleveland.
Cavs, I think.
Yeah, he's
with the
guaranteed
Cavs.
with the Cavs.
Man, I'd love to see the Taco down here, man. That'd be so cool.
You love Taco way too much.
There's an
Way
Aussie kid.
too
I
much.
watched a documentary or like a short documentary on an Aussie kid he's 15 and he's 7'3",
Ooh.
and he's playing at AIS. So he's one to watch out for. 7'3" at 15, and they just can't feed him enough. But
keep feeding him. Hopefully he can play for the Boomers. But this game against Melbourne, it was a good win, 79-74. I think we were up 20 at one point.
You know what? It was one of those like unnecessary Sydney comebacks where they got a bit lazy and just like this Melbourne team is definitely not going to make the finals this year. Unless Delhi kind of becomes more of an offensive force, which he may do because he's probably playing a bit more and probably getting a little bit more, time than he would in the NBA. But it was an unnecessary
shoot threes anymore, man. Just stop shooting threes. And that's going to change the way they play. Obviously,
he doesn't shoot threes; he vomits threes. Do you see his like?
It's rough, man. I mean, this Melbourne team, like Brad Newley started with the three, and I was just like, you didn't hit that last year, Brad. Get out of here. Get off the court. Like, what are you doing? And that was like, oh yeah, all right, Brad, you're gonna have yourself a night, are you? You didn't score the ball at all after that. We
Just
kind of
like
just
this is
went,
what Brad.
this
Yeah,
exhibit is closed for Brad. But this Melbourne team, ooh, it looks rough, man. A couple of tries coming off the bench. You're like, yeah, fair enough. Shea Ely diving at people's legs again. But Delhi, man, let's talk about Delhi. I just was like, ooh,
it's not the right team.
that's
It's
rough,
not the
man.
right team.
He's got to stop shooting threes. And look, he can dime the ball. I think he's going to get games where he's going to get 8, 9, 10 assists this season. But the amount of times he would just drive and then stop and, with his ass out, just look around for dudes. And you're like, why are you even in this position to start with, man? Like, why did you just terminate your dribble in the middle of like bodies?
Delhi,
It's such an NBA thing, man.
yeah, but it's also Delhi. Like Delhi would fit into the Perth system perfectly because you got two guys that are absolutely manic running off screens that he could just find in open areas. But I mean, you watch him and Golding just go at it. I think that's the key. I think key combo for Melbourne is that if Golding, Delhi will find Golding wherever he needs to be, and they just didn't have that in this game.
Mm,
That's really how they're going to win games because there's no one like Shea Lee's pretty, as a bit of a backup point guard, he's okay. But yeah, there's nothing in between like Pete Ling. I mean, Dave Barlow's old. Brad Newley. I can understand why Sydney let him go with the talent that they kind of had coming
mm,
in. You can understand maybe why they let. I mean, Brad's got great, and he's got a couple of years left in the NBL, and I think that's great. Completely didn't use him for what he's good for. Just
last
like,
year, yeah.
oh, this year,
This
like
year.
what was
Oh,
this game in Melbourne like? Oh, Brad's going to step out and shoot. No,
yeah, he
Brad
was
gets
shooting
down.
threes. I was
It's
like,
just like Brad
please,
gets downhill, and
please.
that's all he does. Right, that's what
Yeah.
he's good at.
But
Unless the
the other thing though, he was trying to drive, man, but we just had bodies in the paint.
yeah,
And it was like
well,
you're gonna try and finish around, Jarrell, Maker with his arms out, and then Xavier Cooks playing good defense. Xavier Cooks' trail defense, man, is just
oh, so,
suffocating. It's awesome to watch.
he is an effective three shot away from an NBA spot. He's so good. He can play that four in the NBA so well. Is that he can defend on ball. He can get around guys. He's got spin moves. There's going to be a lot more room in the NBA to score than there is in the NBL because you don't have those paint cloggers.
Mm,
If you could just stretch that three, if you could change his technique, I don't know. He needs to work with the shooting coach, but that's why he's not in an elite league. That is the only reason why he's not playing for Houston or
mm,
OKC or a team that'll give him a couple of years to get in there and have a go and see if he's going to make it. That's the only reason, because he's good enough from a defensive perspective. He can play small ball five. He'd fit well up into any lineup as a small ball five. But the three is it's more of a pass than a
mm.
shot. It's just
I think he's just too long, man, and
yeah.
he's grown too long, and he is too long, and his technique started to go inward, and
Yeah.
it's just not there. But he might bring it back. He's got enough weapons in the NBL to
Oh yeah,
not have to
he's
bother.
he's an elite top 10 NBL player, I
Mm,
think.
yeah.
Definitely.
But yeah, it was a good win. Yeah, that Melbourne team looks rough, and I think Chris Golding's going to space the floor and might open Delhi up a little bit with a little 3-man with JLA, some of the other weapons they have. But yeah, that was an average Melbourne team. We were a little bit lucky to catch them without Golding, which is good to see. Do we have another game against them in a couple of weeks? I think, don't we?
Well, we have to remember this team has also not played together. I mean, this is the first time we saw RJ Hunter. It's the first time we've really
Yeah, he
seen
just came
Jalen.
out of nowhere. It was like, whoa,
Yeah.
RJ. I thought he was still injured. Okay, sure.
Yeah, so we didn't really see him much in the preseason. We didn't see him all preseason.
Mm,
He was meant to play that Illawarra game, but that got COVIDed. Um, yeah, it's you can kind of see where Coach Buford uh, doesn't really know how to give effective minutes because Shawnee kind of came in late. He wants to get Bilali Bales in, who I think is top 10.
yeah,
He,
go off, King. Go off.
go off.
Go off on Bawali Bales. He had a
Oh
great
man,
night, man.
oh man. But Wally Bales, I think, is the next Paddy Mills. I really do. I think I saw him in that under 19s EMU squad. He's a shot off the curl away from being, the next Paddy Mills.
Mm.
For my mind, like that's the guy that we think. Okay, we've got Josh Giddey who's 19. We've got Bawali Bales. That's our future NBA kind of NBL combo for the World Cup. That's
Yeah, you got Travers in there too as
you
well.
got
Can't
Travers in
forget
there.
him.
You got some good talent coming through, and it's good because these guys are going to be playing all the qualifiers and the Commonwealth Games and all those kind of things. So we got some good elite talent for those tournaments. But yeah, man, he's a top 5 point guard in this league for years and years and years and years. I think he's a DP this year as well. He's full contracted next year. Um, so that's good because you don't know where you're going to have guards in a couple of years. I think they're probably Shawnee Bruce's understudy, and you'll have
Mm.
him as backup point guard in the next couple of seasons. But yeah, man, that's I can't rate him more highly.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed by Wally Bales.
I was saying to you before we went live, his attitude was great too. I mean, it's very easy for a young guy to come into this team and want to make a statement, want to grab the ball and do things with it, make yourself known. But I thought he showed heaps of maturity, just, playing within the system, getting the ball, making plays, passing the ball, looking for other guys. And then there was a couple of times where we were struggling to get a bucket and he would just blow by someone and everyone would go, whoa. And he would just be at the rim and finish. And you were just like, that's exactly what we need to kind of keep our momentum going. And it was very lucky that, we destroyed Melbourne in transition. I think we're kind of lucky that they missed a bunch of shots. And if you miss shots against Sydney this year, you're going to get absolutely destroyed because they got guys who can run, guys who can pass. And that's going to be one of their hallmarks, I think, is the speed at which they play this season. And yeah, that I think we're kind of like, to go talk about the whole system. I think we're kind of lucky that we had all those transition opportunities because our half court sets and our sort of setup offense was a little bit rough, I thought.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
a first time looker from me, like a first time look at it from me,
dude,
goes, ooh, it's
it's a
rough,
first
but
time look from the team as well because this team hasn't played together. So
yeah, for sure.
I think back end of the season, even with some injuries that you've got to think about, this team is set for top 2 run, easy.
Yeah, because once Hunter likes to play in that, off the curl, shoot the ball, catch and shoot, and when he's on the floor, like he's in a lineup, with Glover, Adams, and Cooks and Hunter and Cooks and Martin, and it's a little bit like who's gonna toss you the ball for catch and shoot in that lineup, and then you kind of go down the line, and then you're looking at it and like, Shawnee Bruce, Swakalu Baluk, like, there's not many dudes who can, off a rub screen find you with a catch and shoot. But I think that's going to develop. And as RJ Hunter realizes, make a couple of baseline cuts, come out off the baseline on the curl, he's going to get shots like that. And I think with our bigs this season, we're going to get a lot of opportunities for our shooters on the outside. And if we're knocking it down, that's going to improve our half court sets and our offense as a whole. But that transition, man, was just deadly.
Yeah,
And
it's exciting to
if
watch.
you miss shots and the rebounding, man, was so good to just watch a team where you're just like, we will dominate you on the box. Thank you. It's just like, oh, thank God, rebounding, so good to watch. And we just got so many big dudes. But yeah, Swakalobaluk came out, and I thought he
He's
all
like
right.
the young Thomas Bogdanovic, the kind of energy guy, deep bench. Probably won't play a lot when DJ comes back, but if there's injuries in this, there's always going to be injuries in this league. This is why I like this team, man. This team runs so deep. And then you've got Jalen Galloway, who we're not going to see probably anything off. He's a DP. Looked really good for the Emus. Looked good in preseason. Can shoot the ball, can run, can dunk. And we're not really going to see much of him. So, this team is so deep. So deep. It's kind of absurd how deep this NBL team is. I didn't think we could get this. This team is deep. Like, you're going back to those eras of like Dane Pinot and like,
Yeah.
wow.
Oh,
And
and
like
like
and
Travis
David
Ware or David Ware, whatever his name
David
was.
Ware. Oh my god! And you're like,
Oh,
I think it's a testament to the NBL as a whole. Is that's where it was 4 seasons ago when we started. And look at you're getting RJ Hunter, who's a 28th pick in the 2015 draft. You're getting Jarrell Martin, who, had 4 good seasons at Memphis. It wasn't NBA quality, but had 4 decent seasons in the 4 position of Memphis. You had Jalen Adams, who played 74 games for the Hawks. Played G League for the Wisconsin Herd, and you're getting DJ, and you're getting all these young Australian guys that have been playing college and are not going to Europe. They're coming home to the NBL. Maybe it's COVID, maybe it's not, but this league is easily top 3 league in the world. Easily top 3 league in the world. Like and now we're starting to be on those kind of fringe NBA guys' radar because they know that this is a potential step back into the NBA if you can perform well in this league. And I think it's just going to make a better product. And the product, even the product around the league, even though, I mean, Brisbane were pretty woeful, and but the product is definitely improved significantly, significantly.
It's a launching pad again, right? And I think having guys like Tate and Lamelo recently go back to the NBA and look really good. Like Tate just looks
Oh
like,
man,
wow, how are you
so
not
good.
on a top 4 seed team and something important like nearing a championship in one of those teams? But
Look, I think Houston's is 5 years away, and if they can keep those core guys together, like Jalen Green, Christian Wood, these guys get 2 or 3 years deeper, 2 or 3 years on their belt. They put a few games together. That's a team that if they add a few pieces, man, they're the Hawks 3 years ago.
mm,
That's what they're at, right? And you just keep playing, keep getting better, keep working as a team. You get rid of John Wall's contract, which is still he's getting paid 47 million next year. You can get rid of that, and maybe bring some good bench talent in because you kind of cap hamstrung. Like they'd be getting Jay Sean Tate for next to nothing. He's probably 7 million over 3 years, like next to nothing.
mm.
Most of the guys are draft picks. I think they're paying Christian Wood the most besides um, uh,
Yeah, didn't he
uh,
get the rookie
John.
max extension? I think
Who?
Wood
No,
or
no, no.
some sort of. I think he got paid some sort of amount of money that was a
Yeah,
little
he's on I think
really.
he's on 4 years, 70 mil.
Yeah, okay.
So he's not nowhere near the max. I
No.
mean, John Wall's the max. They've just drafted Jalen Green. They've got some good depth. They still got Eric Gordon, chub dude.
Whoa,
Whoa. Um,
watch out,
they're,
recording.
they're 3 years away from really doing anything. Just like OKC. OKC is probably 4 years away from doing anything. Josh Giddey, but that's kind of where these guys are going to. I mean, Lamelo Ball, we shat on him, but fuck, he
Yeah,
still looks
but
good,
dude,
man.
how much did we watched him and we saw him live and you were just like, what is this? And then somebody's gone like, what are you doing? And he went, okay, yep, cool. All right, I'm gonna actually take this seriously. And now he's taking it seriously, and he's bulked up too. Like
Yes,
last year, he was like a twig, got that injury, and now this year, like you see him this year, and he's like,
and
he's massive now. And I've
and now
I,
and
I
now he's
haven't
got
watched it
COVID.
all, and I looked at him the other day, and I just went, he's heaps bigger now. Like, okay, well, if you're gonna be that tall and that big, or that size and that big, get bigger, then yeah, okay, you're always gonna be. He's got the
And now
talent.
now he has COVID.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he's got
Oh,
COVID. Terry
jeez.
Rozier, actually, 4 of the Hornets have got COVID.
Oh man, just brutal stuff. Don't let's not talk about COVID on this because I don't want it to infect the NBL, man. Because we've got a good product here, we've got a good thing going. But back to your testament to this team is deep. Like we've talked about like 4 players, and we haven't even got to like some of the other players that had an impact on this team. Tommy V, I thought came out and gave. I was saying to you pre-show, not like good minutes and not good stupid minutes. Like
Yeah,
there's a double sided coin with Tommy V where sometimes he give terrible minutes and you're just like Tommy, and then sometimes you can give good minutes, but you're still a bit like you're a bit out of control. Like calm it down a bit, and then
mm.
sometimes you can give these good minutes like he did against Melbourne where he comes in, makes some plays. Those plays, kind of stumble into more plays. And then you take him out and you go, okay, you've had enough. We won't like keep you out there too long, which I thought was good. Gave him a chance to stamp his authority on the game. Angus Glover, I thought a little bit quiet, but still like some smart plays in there, man.
Yeah, man. He's one to watch. He's one to watch. He's one to watch if anyone goes down as well. I think he's got big shoes. Got the start. I think the start's the right thing for him.
Mm.
But yeah, man, preseason looked so good. So hopefully he can pick up some more stuff.
He got to the line, shot some free throws, which was good. I think he had a nice layup as well. That was his bucket. Was a layup, I think. And he's like athletic and kind of underratedly sizable too. Where you're
Mm.
like, ooh, there's some size on you.
He's had 4 years in the gym, mate. That's because he
Mm.
hasn't been able to play. So
Yeah, which is good. And then Jarrell Martin before we get to the
he looks
star man
standard,
of the
man.
night.
Standard. Jarrell's standard. You
I
expect
kind of was like, there isn't a need for what you were doing last year now, right?
no.
I kind of felt that while I was watching him. I was like,
He doesn't
you
need
don't
10
get the
post touches a
time
game.
to make step backs anymore. Like there isn't any room or any space. It's all 5 out, and like there's no need for you to go in. And it's just like just toss it to him anywhere. Just rinse a guy and shoot. There wasn't really that much of that.
Well, there's no like as well. There's no our Jordy and Xavier on the floor. No one can shoot. Let's get Jarrell in the low block and see if we can get something. It's like no, we've got like 8 guys that can come on the floor and create something and create
Mm.
space and get to the hoop. So yeah,
And
it's
he
it's
was just his finish at the rim is just still
yeah, it's so
unbelievable.
good.
we're going to get better this season as we get more cohesive. And like Maker getting to the basket, I think he's going to get a lot better this year. That's going to open up, a lot of room for Jurel because him around anywhere where you can just kind of physically see, oh, he just needs to spin and step in and he's going to finish this. He just does it. And you're like, wow, like that's such good fundamentals. It's such a safe play where I was watching it kind of knowing every time he was going to score a bucket because I'm just like, oh, he's just spin here, one step, one dribble, there you go, lay in. And you're just like, kind of a little bit like Tate, but Tate was more like on the glass. Like
Yeah.
when it was in and around the glass, that's when you were just like, oh, he's going to go back up and score this. Yep, sweet. But with Jarrell, it's like kind of in the flow of the game. I think that'll only come as we get better this season. And then Jalen Adams, what did you think of him for his first
Rusty
NBL
probably
start?
hasn't played in a while, but good. So much of an upgrade. Definitely an upgrade. He's an upgrade on any guard we've had in the last 4 years.
I think it's I don't want to just be like, good, so glad I don't have to watch Casper anymore. And part of me is kind of like that, but at the same time, I think Jalen Adams has more to his all round game. He's got like off the dribble, coming off a screen, there's options and he can survey the floor. Whereas Casper got a bit like tunnel vision, one dimensional, getting to spots and like, telegraphing the way he was playmaking.
Yeah.
And I think with Jalen Adams, he can do a lot of stuff and if he gets into trouble, he can kind of finish his way out of it. I felt like that. I watched a couple of those videos of him and there was a lot of just crazy finishes in traffic where he was, a dude draped all over him. But in this NBL, it was like, there are dudes on you, but they're also, middle-aged white guys and they're also quite far behind you. And so he's just like, oh, this is actually a lot easier than I thought. So I think he's going to get better as the season goes on because he's going to realize that once you blow by a guy, usually there's no real trail threat because there's not a lot of 7-footers and not a lot of tall timber out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But just every part, like it's just, if you had like the star chart of like, every part of his game, just everything, it'd be, 3.5, 4 stars, like
Yeah.
across the board. And I think that stability is going to send this offense or send it. It's going to like glue this offense back together than kind of
Yeah.
the sporadicness that it was last year with everyone kind of going everywhere. He had a couple of mistakes where you were just like, jeez, like that one. You don't really want to be loose around Shaili in
No.
general, but that one where he kind of just dribbled it off his foot and then stood there while Shaili picked it up. It was just a bit like, oh, okay, that's that goes beyond like a little bit of a stuff up. That was a little bit like, why were you just not? You were just looking at the ball and you picked it up, like. But I hope, you know, well, he had that one, and then he had a couple more where there was just an inbound and lackadaisical. Sheila came and he just kind of had to contest it and tipped it out. Like one, you're like, come on, man, like switch on. Two, you're kind of like, come on, dude. And then three, you're kind of a little bit like, dude, what? Like, is there an issue with this? So I was a little bit like, ooh, I hope there's not an issue with engagement or something like that. But hopefully he, just tightens up his game and
Yeah.
realizes that the full court press, he's probably not used to that as well.
Nah, definitely not. Definitely not.
But yeah, good game, good win. I think we've covered pretty much all of that in the win.
3-2-1.
And we shall go to 3-2-1.
I'm
What
gonna
do you got?
go. It's hard, man. It was a good all round game. I'm gonna go
Well, I went
Cooks.
Adams.
I went Cooks 3 because
Yeah.
the two mistakes were just Cooks 3, Adams 2, 1 to Tommy V.
Tommy V, your man.
It just had some good minutes, man.
I don't know. I don't have a one. I had
Actually,
Adams.
no. I'm gonna go McCoo Maker
Yeah.
1. Realistically, it was just it was the X factor that came with that bench in that second period. You're like, whoa, what is this?
Dude, I can't stress enough how I was just like, if he puts this together, man, he's gonna be so dominant. Like the skills, the size, the power. It's like any guy just going to the hoop, having him come off a screen, he's gonna just finish every time. It's gonna be great. I don't know, man. I had Adams for 3, McCurr for 2. It feels bad giving a 1 to either one of Hunter Martin or Tommy V or
Right,
Bales.
Cooks,
I'm gonna
man.
go Bales.
Wally.
I like that. one for Bales. Little pipe opener for him to start his Kings career.
Mm.
It was impressive, man. 7
Oh,
points,
yeah.
3 or 4. Kept the pace up. It was great. All right, let's go tipping. Good start. I will just double check that I've got these games right. I do. Yeah. You want to say something?
No.
No. Jack Jumpers are at home to the 36ers.
I'm gonna have to go Jack Jumpers on this one, man. I
Damn.
really like that. Adelaide what is Adelaide?
What is Adelaide?
Mr. Karen, I thought, man, they could put this stuff together, but no, I'm gonna go Adelaide. I'm sorry, Adelaide.
I got 36ers. This is at Adelaide. Put it together, and they finally put up 100 points, and the Jack Jumpers have 60, and it's a 40-point blowout.
Yeah, I'll go Adelaide. I'll go Adelaide.
Talk you into it.
Yeah, I'll go Adelaide.
They're at home though, the Jack Jumpers. So there you go. Then it's Phoenix at home to the Breakers.
Phoenix.
The Breakers looked awful. They looked awful. It's kind of like Finn Delaney, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then Finn Delaney's like too good for that team as well. Kings at home to the Hawks.
Kings.
I like the Kings. It's just my Achilles heel, man. I can't tip against the Kings. Study it. No, it always eventuates. Taipans are at home at the Convention Center to the Jack Jumpers.
That's a close one. I'm not going to Types at home. Types at home.
Types at home. Types at home. There was a lot of home wins this
Will
week.
Magnay look better, though? He just didn't look as Gumby as he did last year for Perth.
He looked pretty bad for Perth, man. I don't know. He's kind of like Hodgson 2.0 for me. It's kind of like, where have your skills gone, man? Like, you had skills. Like, remember he torched
it's Harry
us.
Remember Harry Froling was like, oh, wow, this guy's awesome.
Yeah,
and then it's like, what happened to this guy?
Yeah, that one game he absolutely torched us at Adelaide. But that Will Magnay game where he just absolutely destroyed Bogan. And I was like, wow, this is a player, man. He definitely deserves to go overseas. Comes back and he's like, whoa, what happened to you, man? United are at home to the Phoenix, a little Melbourne burner.
Yeah, I'm going to... is Goulding out? That's the question.
I think he is. I think it was 4 weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'll go Phoenix. Phoenix.
This has got just... And United, put him under the thumb. And you're just like, what? All right, you pulled that from nowhere. Sure thing. But yeah, I went Phoenix. 36ers are then at home to the Breakers. That's 36ers for me.
I'm going to sneak a Breakers in. They got to win sometime.
You're going all out to start the season. And then Perth will play at home to the Bullets at RAC Arena. So they were at RAC Arena.
How are they getting away with that? Oh, I know why. It's you can go from Brisbane to Perth because they tried to stop Adelaide getting the second test so they could go straight from, because they're all quarantined to go to Brisbane, or both teams, and so they go straight to Perth. But then Cricket Australia told them to get effed. If you don't want the fifth test, we'll give it to Hobart.
Well, Queensland must be able to go to Perth somehow.
Yes, they do. They're the only state. It's just all weird. I'll go to Perth at RAC.
At RAC, yeah. All the fouls, all the fans, all the points for Perth. Perth for me as well. That rounds out the second week of tipping. Reminder, anyone out there listening along or watching along, you can get in on our tipping comp still until round 3. You might start with a little bit of a deficit. We'll try and work something out for that. If you do want to join now, then you're still able to just send a message on this video or any of the other posts that we post. Send us a message. We'll add you into that. Fantasy? Do we have any fantasy content?
We've got 4. We've got to get more people. We've got to get a minimum of 12 people to actually create the league. So it starts round 4.
All right.
So we're going to get more people in. If you're in this, join. It's round 4. It begins. So get in there. There's, I'll chuck some cool prizes in. Why not?
Effort. We'll have to do a little promotion of that.
Yeah. So I'll get some cool prizes. Hopefully Ben can get the prize out to Jenny.
Yeah. I've still got it
sometime.
It's still sitting here.
The Jarrell Martin.
It is here. It is real. It's definitely here.
Is it a patch? It's got a patch. Or is it
yeah, it's got a thing of his clothes. It's
it's patch. It's patch auto. Jarrell Martin patch auto.
Yeah, Panini.
Yep.
I know nothing about cards, but sure. Looks pretty cool. It's in a little case. But yeah, I have it, so I'm getting it out to them as soon as I can, as soon as I'm able to leave the house. and I'm not working or studying. It's pain in the backside at the moment. But yeah, so if you do want to get in on fantasy, yeah, definitely send us a message. You got the code thing.
Yeah,
I'll try
I
and
can put the
post
code.
it. I'll try and find it and make sure I post it every time we go live or do any content or do any sharing or anything like that. Do you want to do any content about it? Did you have a good fantasy? I'm so bad at fantasy, so this is gonna be
I had a
hilarious.
terrible fantasy. My fantasy was way off.
You
It
ended
was
up
it was
you ended up in another sport.
I did. No. We did the tipping pilot. This season could be fantasy. We'll grow this. We'll get it bigger.
Mm.
We'll get some good prizes going. So yeah, we'll have some fun with it.
Yep, and I think that's pretty much everything for this week. We'll be back again next Monday, hopefully for another episode, bringing to a close round number 2. And like, share, and subscribe. We're on Facebook right now. You can watch us live. You can watch us live on Facebook, and you can watch us back in replay on Facebook and on YouTube. And in audio format, you can find us on the Anchor platform. It goes out to Spotify and to or Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts. And give us a rating and review, because that's great. Helps us get us out to more Kings fans. And if there's nothing else to say tonight, we will see you guys next time
On the King's Dome.